Morphic resonance. Entanglement, synchronicity, panpsychism. This groundbreaking and radical hypothesis suggests that nature itself possesses memory. The fundamental question of morphogenesis, how things take their shape, remains one of the enduring mysteries in biology. What makes a rabbit rabbit-shaped? How do newts regenerate lost limbs? Why do molecules adopt specific shapes? Why do societies organize themselves in predictable patterns? Rupert Sheldrake, biologist and author of The Science Delusion, titled Science Set Free in the U.S., proposes that nature is not a machine. Instead of being governed solely by universal laws, he argues that each kind of system, from crystals to birds to human societies, is shaped by a unique morphic field. These fields contain a collective memory built up over time. According to this theory, organisms inherit not only genetic material but also behavioral and structural patterns from previous similar systems. Philosophically speaking, causality has multiple dimensions, including material, formal, efficient, and final causes, leading ultimately to the notion of an ultimate cause. Morphic resonance may be viewed as a significant factor within this broader causal framework. What is morphic resonance? Morphic resonance, inspired in part by ideas from the American philosopher C.S. Peirce, is the hypothesis that self-organizing systems inherit a kind of collective memory from all previous systems of the same kind. Rather than rigid, timeless laws, the behaviors of systems are shaped by habits that evolve over time. In its most general form, morphic resonance proposes that what we call the laws of nature are more akin to habits formed by repetition across time. This notion also suggests a radically new interpretation of memory and biological inheritance. Memory, for instance, may not be stored solely in material traces within the brain, but could be accessed through morphic fields. Since the 1920s, many developmental biologists have suggested that biological organization depends on fields termed biological, developmental, positional, or morphogenetic fields. All cells arise from pre-existing cells and inherit not only genetic material but also fields of organization. Genes play an important role, but they do not fully explain the organization itself. Challenging the materialist dogma. According to Sheldrake, modern science has come to operate under a set of unexamined dogmas, or beliefs taken as truths without adequate scrutiny. These include: all reality is purely material or physical. The universe is a machine made of inanimate matter. Nature is purposeless and indifferent. Consciousness is nothing more than brain activity. Free will is an illusion. God exists only as a mental concept, confined to the human brain. This worldview is often expressed by those who claim, "I don't believe in God, I believe in science." Yet such a statement reflects a belief system, not science in its truest sense. There exists a crucial contradiction between science as a method of inquiry based on evidence, reasoning, and collective investigation, and science as a worldview, which since the late 19th century has been dominated by philosophical materialism. Under this materialist paradigm, most sciences have become ideologically constrained, treating their assumptions as facts. This worldview has become the default among educated people globally, yet when critically examined, many of its assumptions begin to unravel. Empirical evidence. There is emerging evidence that may support the idea of morphic resonance. In 1980, Miroslav Hill, a French cell biologist, conducted experiments suggesting that cells could influence other similar cells at a distance, even without direct contact. This surprising result, often referred to as the Hill effect, remains controversial but intriguing. Toward a broader framework. Below is a list of 10 scientific dogmas that Rupert Sheldrake critiques. I have supplemented these with relevant commentary, interpretations in parenthesis, and scriptural references where applicable for those who seek a broader metaphysical or theological perspective. The universe, animals, plants, and humans have often been compared to machines. In fact, as Richard Dawkins vividly put it, we are lumbering robots, genetically programmed entities functioning like computers, with brains as their central processors. While this mechanistic model has significantly advanced science and technology, it offers only a partial understanding of reality. Living beings, including humans, exhibit traits that machines inherently lack: consciousness, purpose, adaptation, creativity, and self-healing. Plants respond to stimuli, communicate chemically, and even exhibit memory-like behavior. Animals demonstrate emotions, social intelligence, empathy, and intuition. The universe itself appears finely tuned for life, with physical constants calibrated with almost unimaginable precision, conditions that make the existence of life possible. Moreover, quantum physics, systems biology, and consciousness research have increasingly challenged the purely mechanical worldview. These fields reveal complexity, interdependence, and emergent phenomena that cannot be fully explained by reducing systems to their component parts. In short, while the universe and living organisms may contain machine-like elements, they are not merely machines. They are dynamic, self-organizing, purposeful, and often unpredictable qualities that suggest a reality far deeper than mechanistic models alone can describe. Physical reality is not the only reality. Other forms such as mental, emotional, or metaphysical realities may also influence the behavior of living organisms. Curran, 1744. And there is not a thing but that it glorifies him with his praise, but you do not understand their glorification. Is matter truly unconscious? Conventional scientific thinking holds that matter is unconscious, that the universe is composed entirely of inert, non-sentient substance. Under this view, galaxies, stars, planets, plants, and animals are all made of unconscious matter, and the laws of nature are fixed, mechanical, and mindless. However, a growing number of philosophers and scientists challenge this assumption. They propose that matter may be inherently conscious, or at least capable of giving rise to consciousness. One such perspective, panpsychism, suggests that even elementary particles might possess rudimentary forms of awareness, which collectively form the basis of more complex minds. Since humans are entirely material beings yet clearly possess consciousness, it follows that consciousness must, in some form, emerge from matter. The integrated information theory, IIT, for example, posits that consciousness arises from specific arrangements of matter that integrate information in particular ways. Similarly, some quantum theories imply the existence of proto-consciousness in the behavior of subatomic particles. Even simple life forms demonstrate perception and reaction to their environments, hinting that consciousness might emerge gradually from increasing physical complexity. In support of this, Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance offers a compelling model. When a crystal is created for the first time, the process is difficult because no prior habit exists. However, with repetition, the process becomes easier, as a pattern is established and stored in a morphic field. This field retains a collective memory, making future crystallizations more efficient, suggesting that even seemingly inert matter can form patterns of habit and memory over time. I firmly believe that, logically, any kind of existence, material, immaterial, or conceptual, is impossible without its governing laws, boundaries, and an underlying aspect of consciousness. Curran, 41:11. Then he directed himself to the heaven while it was smoke, and said to it and to the earth, Come willingly or unwillingly. They said, We have come willingly. This verse subtly implies a form of responsiveness even in what we perceive as inert matter, hinting that awareness or submission may be more universal than we assume. Are the laws and constants of nature truly fixed? It is commonly believed that the laws of nature are the same now as they were at the time of the Big Bang, and that they will remain unchanged forever. Not only the laws, but also the physical constants such as the speed of light and the gravitational constant are considered fixed, hence the term constants. However, there is no compelling reason to assume that all the laws of nature emerged fully formed at the moment of the Big Bang, as if decreed by some cosmic Napoleonic code, or that they exist eternally in a metaphysical realm beyond time and space. Historical measurements suggest otherwise. For instance, the speed of light reportedly dropped by about 20 km per second between 1928 and 1945. Then in 1948, it appeared to rise again. Similarly, the gravitational constant, known as Big G, has varied by more than 1.3% in past experiments. Some findings even suggest that G fluctuates with location and time, changing throughout the day and the year. The idea of unchanging constants is a legacy of the pre-Big Bang, eternal universe model, where nature was seen as static and timeless. But considering modern cosmology and quantum theory, this notion seems increasingly outdated. In fact, many researchers now suggest that constants may evolve along with the universe. Both the speed of light and gravitational strength may be subject to subtle fluctuations. If the universe is dynamic and expanding, it is plausible that the laws of nature themselves evolve over time, much like human legal systems evolve with changing circumstances. Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance supports the idea that natural laws may be better understood as evolving habits, reinforced through non-local similarity and repetition. In this view, nature develops patterns through experience and repetition, not through immutable decree. Have those who disbelieved not considered that the heavens and the earth were a joined entity, and we separated them, Quran, 21:30. And the heaven, we constructed it with strength, and indeed, we are still expanding it. Quran, 51:47. These verses resonate with the dynamic, evolving universe, one that is not fixed but continuously unfolding, possibly with evolving natural laws that reflect deeper patterns and intentions within creation. Classical and quantum physics operate under fundamentally different sets of laws. Are the constants of matter and energy truly constant? It is widely accepted that the total quantity of matter and energy in the universe has remained the same since the Big Bang, conserved in accordance with the law of conservation of energy. According to standard cosmology, all matter and energy came into existence instantaneously from a singularity, seemingly from nowhere, at the moment of the Big Bang. This raises a critical question: are the fundamental constants of nature, those that govern matter and energy, truly constant? Modern physics is built upon a handful of fundamental constants, such as the speed of light, c, the gravitational constant, g, Planck's constant, h, and the fine structure constant, alpha 1/137. These constants are traditionally assumed to be uniform and unchanging across all of space and time. However, emerging observational data and theoretical advances increasingly challenge this assumption. For instance, observations from distant quasars have hinted at tiny variations in the fine structure constant, alpha, over cosmological distances and epochs. If confirmed, this would imply that the electromagnetic force may have changed slightly over time, suggesting that the laws of physics themselves might not be universal. Alternative theories of gravity, such as the Brans-Dicke theory, allow for a changing gravitational constant, g, which would have profound implications for our understanding of cosmic evolution, stellar formation, and planetary dynamics. Likewise, variable speed of light, VSL, theories propose that the speed of light, c, may have been significantly higher in the early universe. These models offer compelling alternatives to the standard inflationary theory, particularly in resolving the horizon and flatness problems of the Big Bang model. Another major challenge to the stability of physical constants lies in the cosmological constant problem, the enormous discrepancy between the theoretical prediction and the observed value of vacuum energy, differing by an astonishing 120 orders of magnitude. This gap suggests that space itself may be dynamic and evolving, rather than the passive, empty vacuum once envisioned. To date, no definitive experimental confirmation of changing constants has been established. Most observed variations remain within the margins of experimental error. Yet, if even a slight, verified shift in one of these constants were confirmed, it would revolutionize modern physics. Such a discovery could point to evolving laws of nature, hidden dimensions, or even the existence of a multiverse, where different regions of reality operate under different constants. Above all, the extraordinary fine-tuning of these constants, essential for the emergence of life and the structure of the universe, remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in science. If they are not fixed, but instead dynamic, it not only reshapes our understanding of physics, but also raises deeper philosophical and metaphysical questions about the origin, structure, and ultimate purpose of the universe. Nature is without purpose. The fifth dogma of materialist science is that nature has no inherent purpose. According to this view, there is no intention or direction in the evolutionary process, which is described as random and unguided. Perspectives on the purpose of the universe vary significantly. Scientific viewpoints typically assert that the universe emerged because of natural laws and cosmic evolution, with no built-in purpose or teleology. Philosophical perspectives suggest that while the universe may lack an objective or external purpose, humans can create subjective meaning for their own existence. Others argue that the universe's fine-tuned properties such as the precise values of physical constants could imply some form of intelligent design or direction. Thank you for using Panopreter Basic. Theistic traditions, including Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, maintain that the universe was created by God to manifest divine attributes, test conscious beings, and guide them toward higher truths and moral responsibility. A few modern thinkers and technologists have even speculated that reality might be a simulated construct, created by a higher intelligence for reasons beyond human comprehension. And we did not create the heaven and the earth and all that is between them for mere play. Quran 21:16. This verse emphasizes that creation is not purposeless or accidental, but deliberate and meaningful. One of the most outspoken proponents of the purposeless view is Richard Dawkins, a prominent evolutionary biologist and outspoken atheist. He famously wrote, "The universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect if there is, at bottom, no design, no purpose, no evil, and no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference." In Dawkins' atheistic worldview, natural laws and secular morality are considered sufficient to explain both the origin of the universe and the basis for ethical behavior without recourse to divine purpose or moral absolutes. Is biological heredity entirely material? Biological heredity is widely understood as material in nature. Traits are believed to be passed down through genes, epigenetic modifications, or cytoplasmic inheritance, all of which involve physical, molecular mechanisms. However, many developmental biologists now recognize that such a reductionist view is incomplete. There is an increasing acknowledgement of the need for a holistic or integrative understanding of living systems. Without it, biology risks remaining fragmented and conceptually stagnant. While an embryo must indeed have the correct genes to produce the necessary proteins, the role of genes is often grossly overstated. Genes determine which proteins an organism can produce, but they do not dictate the overall form, shape, structure, or behavior of the organism. These outcomes emerge through complex interactions within the developing system, influenced by factors beyond mere genetic sequences. Here again, physical reality such as the role of genes is not the sole determinant in the development of living organisms. Other dimensions of reality, including higher-order organizational fields or even metaphysical principles, may also play a role in shaping life. Quran 22:50 Mankind, if you are in doubt about the resurrection, then consider that we created you from dust, then from a sperm drop, then from a clinging clot, then from a lump of flesh, formed and unformed, that we may make clear to you. This verse points to the stages of embryological development, suggesting that life unfolds through purposeful stages, beyond what genes alone can explain. It hints at a divine order and intentional design, a reality that transcends purely physical causes. Where are memories stored? It is widely believed in neuroscience that memories are stored in the brain through material changes in its structure, such as in modified nerve endings, synaptic plasticity, or phosphorylated proteins. However, the exact mechanism of memory storage and retrieval remains unknown. Despite decades of research, science still does not fully understand how memories are encoded, preserved, or recalled. Nevertheless, the mainstream scientific view holds that memory resides in the brain. but emerging ideas propose a broader perspective, that individuals not only store memories personally but also draw upon and contribute to a collective memory of their species. This concept aligns with Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance, which posits that new patterns of behavior can spread rapidly once they have been established even across populations due to a kind of non-local memory field. According to this view, the more frequently certain patterns of activity occur, the more habitual they become within a species. These patterns then reinforce themselves over time, making similar behavior more likely in the future. This idea points toward a deeper notion that consciousness is not merely an emergent property of brain activity but may be fundamental to the nature of reality, a view known as panpsychism, which holds that even the simplest forms of matter possess some level of awareness. Quran 41:11 Then he directed himself to the heaven while it was smoke and said to it and to the earth, Come willingly or unwillingly. They said, We have come willingly. This verse implies a kind of response and submission from even the non-living elements of creation, hinting at a pervasive, underlying consciousness in all of existence, echoing ideas found in panpsychism and non-local theories of memory. Thank you for using Panopreter Basic. Mind, vision, and consciousness, a broader perspective. The mainstream scientific view holds that the mind resides within the brain, and that consciousness is an emergent property of complex brain activity. In this view, all mental phenomena, thoughts, feelings, perceptions are reducible to electrochemical processes occurring inside the skull. Rupert Sheldrake, however, challenges this view, especially concerning the nature of vision. He proposes that vision may involve an outward projection of mental images, that we do not merely form pictures inside our heads but actually project those images outward to connect with what we see. According to this idea, visual perception is relational and interactive, rather than confined to the brain alone. One striking implication of this model is the sense of being stared at, a widely reported and deeply familiar experience. Many people claim to sense when someone is looking at them, even without seeing or hearing them. While not fully accepted by mainstream science, experiments conducted on this phenomenon suggest it may reflect non-local aspects of consciousness or attention. This leads into broader philosophical territory. Panpsychism holds that consciousness is a fundamental feature of matter, present even at the most basic levels of reality. Idealism goes further, asserting that consciousness is primary, and that matter is a derivative or secondary phenomenon, perhaps existing only within or because of mind. In this context, the possibility of interconnectedness, sometimes described as a unified field of awareness and synchronicity, meaningful, non-causal coincidences, becomes significant. These ideas resonate with morphic resonance, which proposes that forms and behaviors are influenced by fields of collective memory built up through repetition and habit. Such views challenge the strict materialist framework and suggest a universe that is conscious, dynamic, and deeply interconnected. Psychic phenomena are impossible. The eighth dogma of materialist science asserts that psychic phenomena, such as telepathy, are fundamentally impossible. According to this view, thoughts and intentions cannot exert any effect at a distance, because the mind is believed to be entirely confined within the brain. As a result, any apparent evidence for telepathy, precognition, or other extrasensory experiences is dismissed as illusory. Skeptics often claim that people believe in such phenomena due to ignorance of probability and statistics, deception by random coincidences, or wishful thinking rooted in emotional needs or cultural conditioning. From this perspective, reports of psychic events are seen as anecdotal, unscientific, and unworthy of serious investigation. However, alternative models challenge this strict materialist interpretation. Rupert Sheldrake, for example, suggests that morphic fields, which connect members of the same social or biological group, may allow for non-local communication, a framework that could account for telepathy and related phenomena. According to this theory, organisms can remain connected across distances, even when they are physically separated, through shared fields of memory and intention. Some experiments, particularly those involving telepathy between humans or between humans and animals, have produced results that are statistically significant. For instance, in some controlled studies, telepathic success rates have been reported at approximately 44%, compared to the 25% success rate expected by chance. While these findings are still controversial and not universally accepted, they suggest that something beyond mere coincidence may be at play. If such effects are real, they would require a rethinking of consciousness, mind, and the boundaries of the self, opening the door to a more interconnected and less mechanistic view of life. 10. Mechanistic medicine versus complementary and alternative therapies. A widely held belief, sometimes considered a dogma, is that mechanistic medicine is the only form of treatment that truly works. As a result, governments and institutions predominantly fund research into conventional biomedicine, often overlooking or dismissing complementary and alternative therapies, CAM. Skeptics argue that these therapies may be ineffective and that any positive outcomes are merely due to the placebo effect, a psychological response rather than true healing. Mechanistic or conventional medicine is grounded in biochemistry, pharmacology, and clinical interventions, and typically focuses on identifying and targeting specific physical causes of disease through drugs, surgeries, and other standardized treatments. This approach has led to remarkable advances in emergency care, diagnostics, infectious disease control, and surgical procedures. In contrast, complementary and alternative medicine, CAM, adopts a more holistic or integrative perspective, aiming to treat the whole person, body, mind, and spirit rather than just isolated symptoms or organs. CAM therapies include practices such as acupuncture, herbal medicine, homeopathy, chiropractic care, meditation, energy healing, and nutritional therapies. These systems often emphasize restoring internal balance, supporting the body's innate healing processes, and addressing root causes of illness, particularly in cases of chronic disease, stress-related disorders, and general wellness. While CAM therapies are not a substitute for acute or surgical care, many have been shown to improve patient outcomes when integrated with conventional treatment. They can enhance quality of life, reduce side effects of medications, and promote long-term well-being. Today, many hospitals and clinics offer integrative care models, combining the strengths of both conventional and complementary approaches. Thus, rather than viewing mechanistic and holistic medicine as mutually exclusive, a thoughtful integration of both can offer the most comprehensive and personalized care. Quranic verses on healing and cure. He heals the hearts of the believers. Quran 9:14. O mankind, there has come to you an instruction from your Lord, and a healing for what is in the hearts. Quran 10:57. There emerges from their bellies a drink, varying in colors, in which there is healing for people. Quran 16:69. And we sent down in the Quran that which is healing and mercy for the believers. Quran 17:82. And when I am ill, it is he who cures me. Quran 26:80. Say, it is for those who believe, a guidance and a healing. Quran 41:44. These verses suggest that healing encompasses more than just physical intervention, it involves spiritual, emotional, and mental dimensions supporting the holistic view of health embraced by many complementary and alternative therapies. Comment / like / share / follow and subscribe. Shakir Mumtaz. Author, thinker, analyst. Thank you for using Panopreader Basic.